Ladies and gentlemen, it is another Friday night, which means another episode of PlayCallers Sports Talk live. And I am your host, your boy Cool McCain, and I'm joined by the illustrious Coach Dante. Coach Dante, what's going on?
Hey man, what's good, man? Happy to be back on here. Another one, man, to be a part of the crew. Ready to talk some sports, man. Ready to talk some sports.
For sure, for sure. So just so y'all know who we are, what the show is about, a little something for you, and then we're gonna get into it. All right. So, Coach, we got a lot of things on the docket for tonight, but we would be remiss if we didn't start with the festivities that are going to be happening over the weekend regarding the NBA, WNBA, the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame is going to have new inductees. But first, we have a what's up from Rod Uncensored. What's going on, Rod? Rod's going to be turning it up later on tonight, y'all. So we'll give you the information, Coach Dante, where you can check out the big things going to be happening tonight after the show. But yeah, so this year, Naismith Hall of Fame inductees. These should be names that you all know very well. For the WNBA, we've got Becky Hammon, who of course is currently the coach of the um, Vegas WNBA team, the Aces. All right. We also have Dirk Nowitzki, who I'm sure you know very well. Uh, Paul Gasol, another name you guys would know. Tony Parker, as I like to call him, Tony Parker. Dwayne Wade, and then as a coach, Greg Popovich is going into the Basketball Hall of Fame. So, Coach Dante, star-studded class of individuals that we know very well. What are your thoughts on the class, and also did you get an opportunity to see the pick that Dirk, Paul, Tony, and Dwayne Wade took together as well?
I wasn't able to see the pick, but again, those all of those guys, every single one of them, including Becky Hammond herself, definitely deserve to be in the Hall of Fame for what Becky Hammond did for the NBA and what she did for the WNBA and what she did for the WNBA already in her short coaching career, winning a championship. Coming from the Greg Popovich tree, like I said, I think Greg Popovich. I wouldn't say I wouldn't compare him to the New England Patriots, Bill Belichick of for NFL, but I think it's a bad comparison for me because his coaching, Bill Belichick coaching tree, really doesn't have really that much success in the NFL.
He a cheater.
Yup. And the only coach I can say that had close success was Bill O'Brien. He got the Texans to the playoffs. He actually got to won some divisional titles and that's the only one I can say that's kind of out of that tree been successful. But you look at everybody in Coach Popovich's tree. You look at Ime Udoka, took the Boston Celtics to the NBA final. You look at James Borrego, he was able to take the Charlotte Hornets to the NBA playoffs. You look at Becky Hammond already. She almost could have got a head coaching job in Portland until they chose Chauncey Billups. And she goes on to the WNBA in her first stint and win a WNBA championship. And she was also one of the greatest point guards in WNBA history, also in the WNBA with the San Antonio Silver Stars. She started off, with the New York Liberty, being a part of a championship caliber Liberty team before they went into the greatest team in WNBA history, into the Houston Comets twice at that. But she was a very good scorer, very good assist person, can shoot the basketball. She was undersized a little bit, but she definitely commanded the floor and was a definitely leader. And now she's already won a WNBA championship. Who's to say she can't win it again this year? She might damn near win it again this year, the way the Las Vegas Aces are playing. But other than that, you have Tony Parker. You have Tony Parker, who won championships with San Antonio. He's he was a great point guard, very great point guard for what San Antonio did. He was a 6 assist guy, more of a scorer than was, but he was also a leader for San Antonio. And Dirk Nowitzki was the catalyst of Dallas. He was the Dallas Mavericks. When Dirk Nowitzki was on, the Dallas Mavericks was basically on, and Dwayne Wade, what you can say about Dwayne Wade, man? Was Miami Heat. It was the right thing for him to retire in Miami at the end of his career. Carried them to the first championship with Shaq, older Shaq. Got them got him two more championships with the Miami Heat. Realizing, hey, LeBron James is a better player at that point of his career, but when LeBron James needed him and when the Miami Heat needed him to step up, he did. That's what he did. He became that Batman to LeBron James. He became that Robin to LeBron James Batman at the time, noticing, hey, that he was the better player, and it took LeBron James to get them over the top. But when LeBron James needed him, he definitely stepped up when he needed him the most. And Coach Greg Popovich, man, probably the greatest coach of all in NBA history. All of these is well deserving of being in the Hall of Fame.
Yep. So your boy Rod says Nick Saban. So what do you think about him saying Nick Saban? I guess he's putting him in the same breath with Greg Popovich. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know if I would put Nick Saban in the same breath as Greg Popovich. I don't know if I would do that. I don't think they're in the same boat. Greg Popovich, man, don't you know how hard it is to go 20 straight seasons, winning over 50 games and making a playoff? That is hard in the NBA to even do, man. What coach in the NBA that has done that? No other coach has went 20 consecutive playoff appearances in 20 straight years, winning 50 games or more in the NBA regular season. So I don't think Nick Saban is great for college, but again, I don't think he's in the same boat as Coach Popovich.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. So instead of going back over the same information again, because I think you did a very good job of explaining all the different individuals. There was a story that came out that the aforementioned Paul Pierce was talking about how he's a better player than Dwayne Wade. So the quickest argument that most people made was simply, if you take Paul Pierce and you put him on the Miami Heat team with just Shaq and all the guys around him, that team does not win a championship.
Yeah.
Right. If you put him on that team with LeBron and everybody, the team probably doesn't win because, as you said, I think Wade was still the better player at that time.
Yeah.
But LeBron couldn't be Robin. He couldn't mentally handle being Robin. He needed to be Batman. So Wade stepped back and allowed him to be Batman when he needed to be, but he was the guy at the end of the games in that situation. Just, personal opinion. There's been plenty of times where LeBron has stepped up and been, the guy that closes since then, but talking about those years in Miami. So, of course, Rod, some more comments here. He says Nick Saban is part of the Belichick coaching tree. Okay, so that's what he was saying. And then he also says, stop the cap. Paul Pierce, stop the cap. I feel it. Yeah, it's crazy, Rod, how people just come out of their mouth and say certain things, and you're like, really, bro? Like, are you seriously going to say that? Can you even believe that? And I look at it sometimes and I say, this is just a guy trying to be relevant. And congratulations, because it's working. We're talking about him right now. But I feel like that's all Paul was really doing. But I ain't gonna knock Paul for it because this is what you're supposed to do. Any thoughts on that, Coach?
No, I'm not gonna knock Paul, but I think Dwayne Wade was a better player, a better overall player. Dwayne Wade also was a hell of a defender too. I mean, he's a hell of a shot blocker as a 2 guard, one of the best shooting guards in blocking shots of all time. So he was a very good defender. But he, like I say again, and we brought up already, he gave the keys to LeBron. After losing the NBA Finals, when he brought the winning culture out of LeBron. Actually, he said, "Hey man, we're gonna go around on your back. You're gonna have to take us down. You're gonna have to get us down. I'll take a back seat. I'll take a back seat to you if you need me. Hey, I'm gonna be down." That's exactly what he was. LeBron was able to play his best, and Dwayne Wade was able to play his best. Bosh was able to take a back seat as well. His points per game dropped, but he still was the Chris Bosh when he needed him. And far as Rob comment, I mean, you're talking about a guy who's doing great in college, not the NFL. Nick Saban didn't have a lot of success when it came to the NFL side of things. He only had success when he played in college. when he was in college. That's the difference between the NFL and college. You're dealing with grown men in the NFL. You're dealing with grown men in the NFL. You're not dealing with kids in the NFL. You're dealing with grown men. That's actually a difference. You're seeing how fast they got Urban Meyer up off the Jaguars. Got Urban Meyer up off the Jaguars. We should have stayed in college. Dealing with these kids where you can recruit, when you can recruit the right kids for your program instead of trying to entice a grown man to come to your organization. I don't think that's the same as college. For you can want to say success in college for Nick Saban, yes, but NFL, he didn't have the best of success in the NFL.
All right, I feel that. And Rob makes one more comment here. He says Paul Pierce is not in the top 15 small forwards. I mean, hey, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you that if Paul Pierce is not. I think he had a couple of really good seasons. And that's all I really got to say. He won a championship. I mean, so I'm not going to argue that point against you. I have better things to do with my time at breath. So I definitely don't, I can't say I disagree with that comment. But yeah, just wanted to, take a few minutes, shout out our Hall of Famers, because that's an achievement. It's a lifetime achievement. It's something you definitely want to make sure that, you have the opportunity to shout out them for. So we'll move on to the NFL Top 100. It's been a lot of talk about the Top 100, about where certain guys were placed, all that good stuff, right? So I have the top 20 because we pretty much had everything else, in prior weeks. We talked about some of the guys, whatever, in all the prior weeks, but we didn't get a chance to talk about the top 20. So we'll start at number 20 here, and we'll just go through the top 20 real quick. And then if there's anybody that sticks out to you think they're too high, they're too low, definitely let me know at the end of the 20 before we get to 10, and then we'll do it again for the top 10. All right, so at 20, we got Myles Garrett. At 19, George Kittle. At 18, Minkah Fitzpatrick. At 17, Max Crosby.
Okay.
16, Stephon Diggs. 15, Fred Warner. 14, Trent Williams. 13, Devontae Adams. 12, Josh Jacobs. And 11, Aaron Donald.
I think Myles Garrett should have been higher.
Okay.
I think out of that, I think Myles Garrett should have been higher, man. He's a very dominant force, and he gets pressure instantly. So I think he should be a little bit higher. I think, not saying he should be at least in the top 10, he should be closer to the top 10.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have an issue too much with this. With these people in this range. Yeah. There may be one or two people where I may move their placement, but I think the people themselves, except for Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald should be in the top 10. Other than that, I think the list is fine. I will say, we don't have this on the docket, but quickly talk about Devontae Adams was carted off today. I haven't had a chance to check on the update on him, but hopefully, everything's good with Devontae Adams. If it's not, the Raiders are going to have a worse season than they were having. But truthfully be told, if I'm Devontae Adams, even if this is a 1 or 2 week injury, I may have a little extra soreness to keep me out 5 or 6 more weeks.
Yep. I don't think it was going to be good anyway with him. Even in, it wasn't going to be good anyway with him in.
Yeah, and I think that's why he's not going to rush himself back whatsoever.
I'm not rushing back. You ain't lying. I ain't rushing back.
Man, I'm taking my time. I got all kind of whatever other minor injuries I never really took care of before. Everything got to be taken care of now. if I'm you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I'm Devontae Adams on that team.
Yeah.
But the top 10. At number 10, we got Chris Jones. Number 9, Micah Parsons. Number 8, Josh Allen. Number 7, Tyreek Hill. Number 6, Joe Burrow. Number 5, Travis Kelce. Number 4, Nick Bosa. Number 3, Jalen Hurts. Number 2, Justin Jefferson. And number 1, Patrick Mahomes. So thoughts on the top 10? Anybody you feel like too low, too high? Anybody you would take out and put Aaron Donald in?
I think Justin Jefferson and Patrick Mahomes are the right two. They're the right two. I mean, 1,800 yards, you can't overlook that. 1,800 yards for Justin Jefferson. Ain't nowhere where you can kind of overlook that. I like what Jalen Hurts kind of did But it also seems like, he's really actually not the third best player in football. But I like that. I'm okay with Jalen Hurts. I'm okay with Jalen Hurts being there. So I'm not going to be too upset at that. Joe Burrow had a solid season. He had an excellent season. For in the top 10, I think Aaron Donald should at least be in the top 8. I think Aaron Donald should at least be in the top 8. I know he had a down season. I know he was hurt for most of the season. But he lost Von Miller, who was proved to be critical for that defensive line pretty much. But I still think he's dominant. But just the Rams just sucked as a team. They just sucked as a whole team. But I think he should be at least in the top 8, top 10.
So who would you take out? So you said top 8. So I'll give you 10 through 7. Who would you take out? So at number 10, Chris Jones. Number 9, Michael Parsons. Number 8, Josh Allen. Number 7, Tyreek Hill. Who would you drop?
To be honest, I would drop Josh Allen. To be honest, I would drop Josh Allen. To be honest, I thought, like I say again, he had an okay season. It wasn't that great. He had some boneheaded plays, and plus he fell in to elevate the team to where they supposed to be. He's not actually living up to the standards. He's not actually living up to his standards. That's the reason why Stephon Diggs is frustrated as well, because the Buffalo Bills as a team is not living up to the standard that they supposed to be living up. So I would actually drop Josh Allen up out of the top 10 and put him in Aaron Donald's spot. And flop them and switch them.
I've had this conversation before. Every time Josh Allen is the one that gets moved. What up, Key? Appreciate you tuning in with us as well. But yeah, so everybody says that. That's why I think.
I will actually drop Josh Allen. I will actually drop him.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Everybody I've had this conversation with, on air, off, everybody says Josh Allen is the person they would take out and move Aaron Donald in. Other than that, everybody's kind of fine with the top 10. So, hey, for me, I'm happy. My boy's number 3. I'm gonna be honest. We had the conversation here. I thought it was gonna be like 6 or 7. Yeah. Maybe top 5. I didn't see 3 coming, but I'm not going to be mad about it.
I'm not mad at it either.
I'll take it.
I'm not mad at it either.
I mean, I can honestly say right here on air, maybe a little bit high, right? Maybe a spot or two too high. But hey, I mean,
the players played him, so hey, they know him. They know how tough it is to play against him. So hey, I can't argue over them players. I ain't gonna overlook them players and argue them.
You literally took the words right out of my mouth.
I ain't arguing them
about. You definitely took them out. All right, so the next topic, I'm gonna let you go first, and then I will, talk, and that's because
I'm
gonna let you go first. But so Ron Rivera came out, said Eric Bieniemy is being too hard on the players. He's getting complaints from players. So one question I'm gonna ask, and then whatever else you want to add to it, it's all you. My one question I'm gonna ask is, why would Ron Rivera put this out to the public?
Why would Ron Rivera put this out to the public again? I don't know why would he do it, but this is something you keep in house. But again, if you got a problem with a coach trying to win football games and trying to turn an organization into a winning culture, then I don't know what to tell you. Now, if you got a problem, Eric Bieniemy is a 2-time Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator. He coming there and trying to change the culture. He coming there and trying to goddamn win. He ain't trying to come in there and just fail. This man has been a part of a head coaching interviews for quite a long time. He coming there, he's trying to impress, he's trying to win, he's trying to change the dynamic on the offense. I feel that the players are being too goddamn soft and crying too goddamn much because a coach trying to come in there and trying to win football games and put these guys in a greater situation to succeed. You got the pieces. I mean, Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson can be a scary tandem if Jahan Dotson stay healthy. But it's all about Sam Howell. How is Sam Howell going to play this year? I think that's the quarterback situation is a question. Sam Howell played in one game, I believe, last year. That was the Dallas Cowboys game, and he looked pretty solid in that game. But I have no problem with Bieniemy intensity and him trying to want to win football game, want to win football games, to turn this game around, turn this team around. He's not trying to come there and be a part of a losing goddamn product. And that's something that the Washington Commanders are used to. They're used to losing football games. Eric Bieniemy is not used to losing football games. He used to winning championships. That's a goddamn difference between wanting to winning championships and losing. So if you're okay with being a winning product, I don't know what to say in the Washington Commanders. So do I blame Eric Bieniemy from yelling at the players? Hell no, because he's trying to win. He's trying to win. That's what he's trying to do, and I don't knock him for it.
Give me a sip of drink here. Let me cough out, clear up everything. Ron Rivera, you're scared and you're soft. Hold on 1 second, y'all. I got a call. You're scared. You know that the enemy's coming in there. You know that if there's new ownership, you may be in a situation where you could be at this door after the season. But instead of endearing yourself to your team, new management, you go and you do this. Excuse me, y'all. So the players are soft. Period. Running, whining, and complaining. That is unacceptable on every level. That being put out in the media also is unacceptable on every level. Now, my biggest beef is with Ron Rivera and you not saying, hey, we're going to keep this in house. You put this out. Can't believe you do such a thing, Ron. Very disappointed. Coach, I'm going to let you hop back in for a second and I'll be right back.
I got you. But like I said, man, they got the Eric Bieniemy doing really nothing but trying to win football games right now. He's trying to just keep this team. He's just trying to keep this team afloat. And all you can do as a player and as players is complain for a guy that's trying to change the culture of this team and trying to win football games and put every player on that offense in a position where they can succeed. So if you're going to cry and moan and bitch about a coach that's hard, that comes from a winning culture and a winning organization, then, hey, that shows how soft Ron Rivera is and how soft these actual players is. But again, I can't blame Eric Bieniemy. And to me, anyway, I think Ron Rivera is on the hot seat anyway in this damn season. If he doesn't win this season or get to the postseason, I think he's on a hot seat any damn way.
Yeah, so who's the winner here? Who's been on teams where they've won championships, where things have been very successful? That's going to be, to me, only one guy, and that is Eric Bieniemy. Ron Rivera, what have you done? What have you done?
He's done nothing outside but go to the Super Bowl. That's it. Otherwise, he has not done anything. He has not done anything else outside but go to the Super Bowl. So after he went to that Super Bowl, he has not been great ever since. He's not been great ever since.
And the other thing for me, the very last point, you put this out in the media. So this is a guy who's had trouble getting a head coaching job. The Commanders bring him over to give him assistant coach as well as OCs calling plays. And you're putting things out in the media that you know are going to further negatively affect another person of color. Ron, what are you doing? Sounds like you feel threatened. So you're coming out in this manner. Players, get your popcorn ready, snapping your seatbelts. Because since you want to go, I don't know how Eric Bieniemy would think about this, but I can tell you how Cool McCain would think about this. Oh, you want to go complain? Oh, I'm going to give you something to complain about. You want to go run to the coach? You think he's going to make a difference? You know why Eric Bieniemy is there? He's there because you are soft. He's there because ain't nobody been in y'all's faces. Y'all been allowed to do what you want to, and you haven't been successful doing it. So now it's time to change the culture. So you bring in a guy that can help from a winning culture. Y'all don't want to change the culture. You like what you're doing. You feel like it's okay. But guess what? It's not. That's why he's there. And you just might have to learn to live with it.
Yep. And another thing about Eric Bieniemy, when he was with the Chiefs, he was doing this. He was hard on these players, even when he was with the Kansas City Chiefs. So what makes you think he's going to come in this organization and watch a losing product, just stand around and sit up there and go for the foolishness? Eric Bieniemy is not going to do that. He's one of the most outspoken guys in the outspoken offensive coordinators in the NFL. If he's doing that on the Kansas City Chiefs, hard on players, and he's going to do the same thing in Washington. He's not going to say that's just not Eric Bieniemy standards. So I applaud Eric Bieniemy to keep doing what he's doing. And like you said, Rob Rivera, may feel threatened. I think he is feel threatened because I think his job is going to be on the line this year. I think his job is actually on the line this year.
Yep. New ownership there. They're probably going to end up changing the name again from what they've been saying. So I think you're just looking at it and saying, oh, no, man, it's my team. I'm trying to deflect things. But instead, man, what leaders do is lead. Like this is, again, it's something that should have never came out. We should be having these conversations. The enemy's doing what he's supposed to do. He was doing what he's brought in to do. He's doing what got him to this situation. So if Mahomes and those guys are not complaining, do the Commanders really have a way to complain? And we're talking about people complaining like LaShawn McCoy. I mean, come on, bro. You complained because you weren't producing and he was getting up in you and you didn't like that. So this is the kind of coach that teams like the Commanders needs. A lot of young players, a lot of guys that probably were the better players in high school and college. Now you're in the NFL. It's time to get humbled a little bit. It's time for you to realize you're not doing things the right way. What you did in college is not acceptable now. You got to be 100 times better. This is not college. This is not an extension of the SEC. This is 10 times at least more impactful, more aggressive, quicker, faster reads, all of those things. So you got to step it up. And he's getting and expecting that, and they don't like that because they haven't had that in the past. And Ron Rivera, shame on you.
Thanks.
So yeah, Coach, a couple more things to discuss here. Of course, we got to do we'll do the NFC and AFC East preview as well. But a couple more quick things I wanted to touch on. So NCAA men's basketball. The tournament dates have been revealed. So we now know where they're going to be at, and we all know the times. So I'll just go through some of the highlights for you real quick, and we can dig into this deeper later. But just wanted to get that information out. So Selection Sunday is going to be March 17th. So March 17th will be the day when you'll find out if your team does or doesn't make the tournament, and if they do, where they're going. Another key dates, the first four is going to be March 19th through 20th. The first round will be March 21st, 22nd. Second round, of course, 23rd, 24th. Then, of course, after the first two rounds, get a few days off. Reconvene Sweet 16, March 28th and 29th. Elite 8, March 30th and 31st. Final Four, April 6th. And that's going to be at the State Farm Stadium in Glendale. Then the championship game is also going to be at the State Farm Stadium in Glendale. Now, a lot of dates, but ones that I think are interesting would be the regionals, right? And then the Final Four. So regionals are going to be East Regional is in Boston at TD Garden. South Regional is Dallas, American Airlines Arena. Midwest is going to be Detroit, the Little Caesars Arena. And the West is going to be in LA at the Crypto.com Arena. And in the Final Four, you'll have games and dates and things on that. So I won't get into too much of those things, but I just wanted to at least touch on, some of those dates and some of those places. Reason being is I feel like it's important for people to know kind of what dates we're going to have this, because if you're anything like me, you're a pretty strong college football fan. College basketball fan for men. You want to be able to take off those days, right? Some of those days so you can watch games, especially the first rounds of tournaments, because those are the best. You need to know that's March 21st and 22nd, right? Because you got to put in that time early. If you want to see the Final Four, you got to know it's April 6th, and then the championship game is April 8th. If you don't know those days, you can't take those days off, and you got to beat everybody else to get them off. So just want to make sure I threw some of those out there to let you know what those dates will be and, some of those places. So, yeah, not really anything to discuss, but more so just letting you get a little information so that you guys can, start to make plans. All right. And then after that, Coach, the other thing with the sports before we get into the NFL previews for the NFC and AFC East is some interesting information has been floating out there. And of course, this is all rumors until it happens. But the ACC may possibly be getting two new teams in the Stanford Cardinals and the Cal Bears. Do you think those teams are going to go to the ACC? And do you think the ACC would be a good fit for those teams?
I'm not sure if the ACC will be a good fit for those teams. Off the field, not as good off the field, but on field, I know the ACC won't be too nice of a conference for those teams to even end up going to. But I just got to see when they get there. I think it's a possibility that they're talking about it right now that they could end up in the ACC. But we'll see when it gets there.
Yeah, quickly, man. I think that the ACC would be a great fit because it's that other big conference that they could actually be a part of, right? It's the other big conference that they could actually join, learn some information, help them keep the status. Because the thing about Stanford is, they have a lot of facilities. They're big school, big facilities, everything. So being part of a larger conference would help them in the revenue sharing. The ACC doesn't have the revenue sharing that the Big 12, the Big 10, and the SEC has. That's why some schools want out of the ACC, right? But they do have a decent contract in place. Right now, the Pac-12, or what's left of the Pac-12, has nothing. They were attempting to get one worked out with Amazon, but too many people left. So, Amazon's like, not Amazon, Apple TV, but everybody left. So it's like, what we gonna do one for now? So now, I think that's that last place where they can have an opportunity to be in one of the quote unquote, now it's going to be Big Four conferences. And, I think off the field, the ACC is actually a pretty good conference as far as, academics, right? We have the flare ups every once in a while, but it's a pretty solid conference for academics. Other sports is pretty good. Football, I will say the ACC could be better, right? And that's kind of, where we're at with that. So, yeah. So the other thing we'll do, of course, is we're going to do the pull it up real quick here. We're going to do the divisional standings, the divisions preview for last year. We'll start with the AFC. We've been starting with the NFC a lot, but we'll start with the AFC this year. All right, this week. So we're doing the AFC East. So we'll start at the bottom with the Jets.
So the New York Jets, I think they're going to be actually in third. I think they're going to be in third place. I don't still think they will be good enough to win the division, or I still don't think they're better than Miami. But one thing I can say, their defense is going to be pretty good. I think their defense is still going to be solid as it was last year. When you got Quentin Williams, C.J. Mosley, you will have Sauce Gardner. Actually, Sauce Gardner does get away with a lot of holding than you think. But, hey, if you can get away with it, hey, that's you. That's you. If you can find a way to get away with it without the ref even looking, I'm fine with that. But other than that, I think what's going to have to take a leap, I think this offense is going to have to take a big leap. You already got better weapons than what you had last year. You got Garrett Wilson who burst out on the scene last year, who had a really good year. You have Alan Lazard, who was good for Green Bay as well. Breece Hall, how is he going to come back after the ACL injury? How well he recovered? Is he going to be the same player? You obviously did let go Elijah Moore. You still got Corey Davis. Who got a lot of potential, but that's the problem. Potential. He doesn't stay on the field a lot. Doesn't stay on the football field a lot. I think this team, Gonna have a winning record. I think they're gonna finish. I'm gonna give them 9 wins, 9-8, but I just don't think they will be better than the Dolphins or the Buffalo Bills. So I got them actually in third place over the New England Patriots.
All right. So yeah, when I'm looking at the Jets, man, I see like a lot of weapons that are brought in, like you just talked about, right? Aaron Rodgers, of course, is going to make this team a lot better than it was last year. I think this is a team who will vie for and make the playoffs, right? Probably as a wild card. Tough division. Obviously, I'm looking at this assuming that we're going to stay healthy for all the teams in the division. You know, Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, McCole Hartman. That's a decent, starting, wide receiver core, right? Then you got Corey Davis, Randall Cobb on your bench as well as some other guys. So you have some names, you have some veterans, you have a good mix with some younger players. So you kind of got young players, middle of the road players, and veterans. Tight end, you got Tyler Conklin, and then you got CJ Uzuma, who used to play for the Bengals. So you got two guys that are pretty good. I don't think they're great pass catchers, but they're decent. But they do both block and do the other things well. So I think they help out. As you said, Brees Hall right now he's on the PUP list, but we know he'll be back. Michael Carter is another guy that should be fine. Does the things he needs to do. Let's see. Nick Bowden is their fullback. They're another team that uses a fullback. When you get to defense, we could go through all of the individual players, but it's not really necessary. We know the group got better. We know they upgraded on the offenses and the defensive side. We know they have Sauce Gardner, who's one of the better players in the league. Michael Carter II, nickelback that they have is pretty good. We know that they have C.J. Mosley, who they picked up, who I know you're high on. I'm high on as well. Wherever he goes and plays, he's a guy that can fit into any system. And a myriad of other guys. I do have to agree with you. I think they will be the second team. And I think that they will not be able to, third team. They'll be fighting for the second spot, but I think they'll end up being the third team. I don't think they'll be able to kind of get over that hump a little bit, but I do think they'll make the playoffs. And then once you get in the playoffs, a lot of different things can happen. But I definitely believe this team is not going to be able to get past that spot unless, of course, we talked a lot about injury. Injury can always change things. And there's some teams that, I'm going to have to put caveats on. But I do see the Jets in third, possibly second. Just depends on how things end up with everyone and, how much of a difference Aaron Rodgers makes. They were 8-9 7-10 last year. I wouldn't argue that Aaron Rodgers is good for at least 3 more wins. So we put him at 10-7. I think that puts him in a tie for a second and maybe losing the tiebreaker or in second place. So I'm going to go like third place for them, possibility to end up in second place. So that's where I'm thinking on the Jets. I think we're pretty much on the same page with them. Of course, the Patriots. What are your thoughts on the Patriots for this upcoming season?
Well, the quarterback situation looked like it may be Bailey Zappi. I don't know if they set out Matt Jones, but anyway it goes, either one of them. I don't think this team will be very good. Either one of them, regardless of who they choose, I don't think they will be very good. Got them actually in last place in the division. I think the defense will be competitive, but you're going to have to lean on that defense a lot more. You're going to have to run the ball a lot more. I think if it's Matt Jones, the starter, if the starter becomes out to be Matt Jones, which I don't think he should be the starter, I think Bailey Zappi should be more of a starter. Matt Jones is nothing more than a game manager, and he does make bad decisions with the football. I think Bailey Zappi at this point is winning the quarterback competition at this point. I think they're going to be very solid on defense. I do like Keon White, who was really good yesterday versus my Houston Texans. I got to mention right there, coming from Georgia Tech. I think Keon White was really good. He was really good coming off the edge, getting in the backfield a lot. Christian Gonzalez is going to be a solid cover guy, but he's going to have struggles tackling on the tackling side. But as long as you can cover, that's why I value the most. But their defense is going to be very much competitive. I just think they're going to have trouble scoring on the offensive side of the ball. If they can't run the football, they can't run the football, how they're going to score, who's going to get what, who's going to be the open target. You're going to have you got Devontae Parker, but he's a shell of himself at this moment. Last year, he's not healthy all the time, and he's had a little bit more of a regression. Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, who's a very good tight end duo, but other than that, I don't think they're going to be very good, and I don't think they're going to score as much. I think they're deep for them to win. Their defense basically have to keep them in every game, and I believe that defense will be a competitive defense. The problem is going to be the offensive side of the ball. I think they will most likely struggle with that. So I got them in last place, man. I don't think New England will be very good.
I mean, their running backs are Ramondre Stevenson and Ty Montgomery. And Montgomery is a guy that's been used mainly as a flex guy or a wide receiver the last couple of years, right? So, yeah. Like you said, they'll stay in on defense. They're always going to be good defensively, but they're not a team that's going to be too effective. Offensively, I don't believe Hunter Henry is going to have a guy to really throw the ball or might get Gesicki. I think these are good players, right? But when you're going to be looking at Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi to be the guys giving you the ball, I think that's where we see the problem at. You look at their wide receiver room. Devontae Parker, solid guy. I don't really think he's a number one, but a solid guy. Tyquan Thornton, Juju Smith-Schuster. These are guys that are okay. These are names, guys you probably know if you watch football, but I don't think any of those guys would be a number one. Kendrick Bourne, and then Kayshon Boutte and Demario Douglas around the back three. These aren't guys that you look at and say, man, this team's pretty stacked, right? You just don't do that.
The problem is I'm gonna be looking at heavily of Juju Smith-Schuster. We're going to get a chance to see if it was Patrick Mahomes last year, which I actually think it was Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes can get guys off the street at this point and take to the Super Bowl and make better. He has a Juju Smith-Schuster hasn't been good since his rookie year. And you know who we had on the other side of him his rookie year? That man, Antonio Brown.
Pretty crazy Antonio Brown. Yes, sir.
That's who we had on the other side of him that rookie year. You know who we had this year? Patrick Mahomes, and guess what? Travis Kelce. So it'll be interesting to see if Juju Smith-Schuster actually really good, or was it just Patrick Mahomes? Or was it just Patrick Mahomes making him that really good than he think he was?
Hey, Coach, I mean, we might can get ourselves in shape and go make us a few million next year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like go step on that Arrowhead field and do the same thing he just did.
But yeah, I got them finishing last as well. I just don't see them being better than the other three teams in that division. I don't see them being able to battle because I just see the weakest quarterback in the division by far is in New England. I know we're talking about who's coaching them and all that. That's all well and good, but Bill Belichick can't take his mind out and put it in the body of one of those two guys. The coordinator can't take his mind out and put it in the mind, his brain out and put it in the body of one of these two guys. So that being the case, Patriots are definitely the bottom for me. All right, so from bottom to top, the second place team last year, the Miami Dolphins. What are your thoughts on the Dolphins for this upcoming season?
Well, Dolphins are one of my wild card teams. I'm going to have them going 11-6, but only because I think the Bills will win the division. And the Bills, no matter how much they come up short and have the winning expectations to get to a Super Bowl or AFC Championship, they always find a way to get it done in the division. That's the only thing. But other than that, I think the Dolphins are going to be better than what they were last year. I'm just going to assume Tua will stay healthy. If he stays healthy, we know how hot that offense was last year, how unbeatable they were last year prior to losing him in Cincinnati pretty much. They're right there in the game, right there, going shootout for shootout with Joe Burrow until he hit his head up on the campus. He shouldn't have been brought back, to be honest with you. And he shouldn't have been brought back. He should have sat out the whole season. That's on the training staff and the coaching for letting him go back in. That's why I'm going to hold them accountable for that as well. But if he stays healthy, I'm assuming they're going to be really good. They're going to be 11-16, but only because I think the Bills will be one game better than them. When you have Tyreek Hill, who's having off the field issues, but like I said, I'm not going to hold him to that standard. If he's on the field, I'm okay with that. He's going to have another big season. Jalen Waddle, another big season. You got some pretty underrated running backs that's going to fit the system a little bit, fit what they do best. Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert, if they're healthy. Their defense should be solid without Jalen Ramsey in the lineup for the 6 to 8 weeks. He is a loss, but he's not going to be that big of a loss. You're going to need him, of course, if you want to go far in the playoffs. You're going to need him down the long run. I think they're very good enough to hold up without him. Javon Holland is one of the top safeties in the league with Miami. You have a good defensive pass rush with Bradley Chubb on the defensive line. So they're going to be pretty good. They're going to be pretty good, but I think they're going to be better than what they were last year. I got them in second place. That will be one. That's one of my wild card teams. I got them going 11-6.
So I've actually got Miami winning the division.
Not mad at that. Not mad at it. It's not far-fetched.
Yep. I have them win the division. You look at Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. Now they got Braxton Berrios in the slot. And so I want people to understand Braxton Berrios hasn't been used properly. I'm a Miami football fan for college football. In college, in the slot, Braxton Berrios was dominant. I just talked about how that doesn't switch over necessarily to the pros. That is true. But if you put him in a lineup with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, Braxton Berrios is going to have a third corner, a linebacker, or a safety guarding him. If he's not able to make plays with that situation, then Cedric Wilson is going to slide right in there and take that position from him. So you have guys that can man that slot and give you what you didn't have last year. I'm going to assume Tua stays healthy, but I want to say something that a lot of people haven't talked about. We can talk about Jeff Wilson, Raheem Mostert all day. That's a great 1-2 punch. One of those guys is probably going to get hurt for a portion of the season, so you do need both of them. But here's the important thing. Mike White. Last year, Tua got hurt. You had to go with Skylar Thompson, right? Matter of fact, I'm going to do it right. Mike who? Mike White. He could come in and man this offense, use these weapons, and make this team still run. So the drop off from Tua to the next guy won't be a chasm this year, right? He's not Tua, not saying it at all, but he's a guy that can be a game manager, can make some plays. He can move around a little bit too. So he'll be able to do a lot of things to help this team be successful if called upon. And he also has been in the league for a couple of years, right? So he understands the backup role. He understands his main role is to help Tua, but he can watch what Tua's doing. He can watch where everybody likes the ball at. He can watch where Waddle likes it. He can watch where Hill likes it. Berrios, Cedric Wilson, Robbie Chosen, River Croft, all those guys. He can watch where they like the ball. He's going to run with that second unit a lot. So if needed, he's a guy that can step in. And that was, to me, a really smart pickup for Miami. They had other great pickups, but picking up a guy as your backup quarterback in case your guy gets injured again because of what happened last year, that can actually get it in play, I think that was a big upgrade for them. And I think he makes a big difference on why I'm still confident, even if Tua goes down for a few games, not for the rest of the season, but if he's out 4 or 5 games somewhere in the season, he's a guy that can step in and maybe go 2-2, 3-1 no game, depending on who you're playing, and still help this team get over that hump and win the division.
Yeah, I like that, what you said. Skylar Thompson, last year, I mean, if that was Tua last year, I think they would have obviously probably won that game. And just a couple of more throws that Skylar Thompson did not make that Tua probably or Mike White would have made in that ball game. It just came down to a couple of more throws, and it was terrible clock management by Mike McDaniel. Horrible, just awful clock management late in the game.
Yeah, when your quarterback doesn't have that real understanding and grasp of things, and your coach is bad at clock management, it's not going to go well. It's not going to go well at all. All right, so we'll move on to the last team in the division. The winner last year, the Buffalo Bills. Thoughts on the Bills? I mean, we already know where we're placing them, but your thoughts on
my thoughts on the Bills, I think they're going to go 12-5. I think they'll be a 12-5 team. So, like I say, ain't no argument out of me if you got the Dolphins winning, because they're that good as well. They're just as good as they could be, just good as the Buffalo Bills. But Buffalo Bills has won this division, and like I said, I'm a firm believer of if you won a division by like 3 straight years. So until someone proving they can beat you, I'm gonna pick you to win the division. I'm actually going to go with you. I think their offense is really good. They're going to be able to score on the offensive side. Now they got to get better defensively. They lost Tremaine Edmonds, but you do still have Matt Milano, who's proven to be very solid as a linebacker. Tre'Davious White, can he come back the same Tre'Davious White? They did get Kyra Elam out of the draft last year, who was really good for them, who really stepped up in playoff moments again in that Dolphins football game. The question is, you can move the football versus the Buffalo Bills pretty much, so they're not world beaters on the defensive side of the ball. But the offensive side of the ball, they're going to be very good. I mean, you got Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid, who's one of the top tight ends in college football last year, and I think he's going to be good. He's already having a very solid training camp already, so he's already off to a good start. The problem is, I think they got to balance. They got to balance between the run and the pass. They don't run the ball as much. They don't run the ball like that. And a lot of people say it's a lot wrong with the running game. I just don't think it's a lot wrong with the running game. I just think they use Josh Allen too much at a higher standard to where he's got to, at the end of the games and stuff, he's going to make bad decisions because at the end of the game, you're going to get rattled. He's getting hit. He's got to run the football, and that puts a lot of stress on his arm. So for order to keep that up out of there, you have to run the football. And I believe White Cook can run the football very well. I believe they can run it very well. They average 5 yards a carry, even with Devin Singletary. So that told you the problem wasn't the running game. It's just more on the offensive side. Coordinator putting a lot of pressure on Josh Allen, was making him make those stupid decisions and everything like that. But you still got Gabe Davis, who's proven to be a very good slot. Stephon Diggs is going to get his numbers. He's going to get his 1,100 yards of receiving, and you got the two lethal tight ends. I think they're going to be just fine on the offensive side of the ball. But just the problem is Josh Allen usage rate is way too high. You got to limit that down and balance between the run and the pass. And I think that's exactly why I think they be failing in the playoffs, because Josh Allen was relied upon, and he's not the best of decision making, even though he's high as a usage rate. Come on, man. You can't make mistakes. You can't make simple mistakes to hurt your team by the goal line. You can't throw that interception to Patrick Peterson on the goal line when you have a chance to win a football game. You can't throw an interception towards the New York Jets at the goal line when you're trying to score. You can't throw an interception to Cincinnati when you're trying to score. So that's no excuses for having those type of mistakes, but it could also be they don't run the ball as much. Now, if they do get another running back, I'm not going to be disappointed about it, but you got to calm his usage rate down. They rely upon him too much throughout the run and the pass. I think that's really actually the problem is, and why he turns the ball over a lot. But I got them in first place, and to prove it otherwise, I think the Dolphins have all the talent to be better and to win this division. But I'm gonna just go with the Buffalo Bills by one game, basically by one game.
Yeah, so I look at it. I mean, your wide receiver group is Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs, and Trent Sherfield. Gabe Davis is a decent, I think, probably slot receiver. Trent Sherfield, if that's your slot and Gabe Davis is your left and Stephon Diggs is your right wide receiver, Stephon Diggs sticks out to me as the guy on this offense. He's the guy that's going to get a double team all the time. He's the guy that everyone's going to be focused on, which is why he's been complaining, which is why he's been upset, because he understands that, hey, you did not go out and get a guy to help me on the other side. You didn't go out and get another third guy to help me in the slot. You basically went and got a guy that so far in his career, he hasn't been bad in Trent Sherfield, but he hasn't been anything to write home about even. So you're looking at their wide receiver core. We know that they like to throw the ball a lot, right? You look at tight end, of course, you got Dawson Knox, like you said, and Dalton Kincaid, so they can take up for some of that lacking, no other way to put it, on the wide receiver front. But then you look at the run game, James Cook, Damian Harris, Latavius Murray. So you got three guys who are pretty solid running the ball. But again, like you said, are they going to use them properly? Are they going to commit to the run? We haven't seen that in Buffalo since we've had Josh Allen there. Josh Allen, I feel like in some of these situations is calling his own number. He's going to have to sit off of that. In order for this team to be successful, they're going to need to look at this and say, hey, the only way that we can make this happen, the only way that we can be successful is we're going to have to use the pass and the run. We're going to have to say, hey, play action's got to work. In order for play action to work, we have to run the ball consistently, whether we're getting yards or not. The defense has to believe that we're going to stick to the run the entire game. I haven't seen that from Buffalo yet, which is why I have them on the slide back. And in a dogfight, I will say for the number 2 spot with the aforementioned New York Jets, because Aaron Rodgers is going to make the right plays. Aaron Rodgers' whole goal is to get to the playoffs and be the best that he can be, because he wants to eclipse what Brett Favre did. Remember, Brett Favre went to the Jets after he left the Packers, got in the playoffs, threw the game away on a bad interception. So he wants to get to the playoffs with the Jets, and he wants to do better than Brett Favre because Aaron Rodgers is a petty individual, and I'm here for it. And I think that's all the motivation that Aaron Rodgers needs. So, Buffalo, I don't have you number 1, and you better watch out, or you could be number 3.
Yep, definitely agree.
So that'll be all I have, unless you have any other thoughts.
I want to bring up one
That's all I
specific
have.
player. I want to bring up one specific player that I think that's going to be a sleeper part of that offense. I think Khalil Shakur from Boise State, the rookie out of Boise State, who played a lot at the end of the season last year, who made some big plays at the end of the season. I think he's going to be a dark horse wild card and a big part of that offense this year.
Well, Buffalo better hope somebody steps up. I will say that. So now we're going to get to a division that I don't need any notes on at all. I don't need anything. And that's going to be the NFC East. And we're going to start at the bottom with the aforementioned Washington Commanders. Coach, what you got with the Commanders?
I think the Commanders are going to be – I don't think nothing is going to change from last year. I still think they're going to find a way to be competitive, but I don't think it will be better. I don't think it will be better than New York. I don't think it will be better than Dallas or the Eagles. I still think they will be at the bottom of the barrel at this point. The only the question I got is Sam Howell. How is he going to perform? That's the question I got for them. If Sam Howell, I'm gonna tell you this: if Sam Howell can perform well, I think they will be. They have the standard to be highest third. They have the standard to be highest third. If I think he can perform well, but that's banking on that. That's me just banking on. I don't think the team is very good enough. I think they're going to be competitive. I got them with 8 wins. I think they can win 8 games this year. I think they can definitely compete in the NFC East side of things. You got Chase Young coming off the injury. I don't know how he's going to be. You do got a good defensive line, though. They do got one of the top defensive lines in the game of football. Their secondary is a little suspect. Now, their secondary, they wasn't good in the secondary. They were bad last year. They were 29th in the league in the secondary. So they got Emmanuel Forbes in the draft out of Mississippi State. He can cover pretty good. I like him out of Mississippi State. Very good, very fast. But I still got questions on that secondary. If the defensive line is not getting home, I don't care how good you are on the defensive line. If you're not going to get home, your DBs are cooked. I don't care how good the DBs may be. If you give any quarterback any type of time in that pocket, especially in this division, they're gonna get toasted. That's the only question I got on their defensive side of the ball. Plus, they lost William Jackson, who was a big help on the defensive side of the ball. I think he's rumored. He's talking to Baltimore right now. He's talking to Baltimore pretty much. But Terry McLaurin is going to continue to impress with bad quarterback play. He's going to continue to be solid. And Jahan Dotson, I think he's got to stay healthy. I'm expecting a big jump. out of Brian Robinson III and Gibson. But other than that, I got them going 8-9. I got them going 8-9 unless Sam Howell plays any different and plays very well. They can be highest third, but I'm gonna say 4th in the division. I'm gonna say they at the bottom of the barrel in the division.
So they've got a great receiving core. You know, the question has always been tight end for them. They did bring in Logan Thomas and they have John Bates. But you got Sam Howell, and then behind him you got Jacoby Brissett, who is a journeyman who can play well. So I think that the main thing you have is an unproven commodity at quarterback. All the things point to he's probably going to be their starter, right? Unless he goes out and really bombs in the preseason. Now, running back, you got Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson, and then you drafted Chris Rodriguez. So you've got 3 guys that are all going to make that roster and have an input in the running back room. So you're going to be able to run the ball. That's important because that's something that every team needs to do. If you're an NFL franchise, you want to be successful, you have to run the ball. You're in a division with some very dominant defenses, some guys that get after it every play, every game. So you're going to need to be able to run the ball and take pressure off Sam Howell if he ends up being the guy. If he's not the guy, then ends up being Jacoby Brissett. Same thing. You're going to have to take the pressure off. Like I said, all signs point to Howell, but if he goes out there and he's not getting it done, you're going to have to pull him. So either one of those guys are going to need the help of a running game. They're going to need the help of their defense. I could see them as high as third, as you said, but I'm going to go ahead and go as well with them at 4th. in this division this year, especially with the way their head coach has come out complaining about the offensive coordinator who was brought in because they're soft. So, just my thoughts on that. If the Commanders can eke out one more win next year, maybe they can make the playoffs. But that would be pretty far-fetched. But, I mean, it could happen if you look at the rest of the NFC. It's a possibility. All right, and then we'll go to the team that finished third last year, the New York Football Giants. Thoughts on them, Coach?
I think they're going to be third place. I think Dallas is still a better squad. But I'm gonna go with them in third place. But this time, I don't think they make the playoffs. Only different. I don't think they're making the playoffs. I don't think you're seeing three teams in the AFC in the NFC East make it again. I believe Dallas and I believe Philly and Dallas make it back, possibly make it back. I don't believe the Giants would this year. But I do got them going 9-8. I do think they can win 9 games. The problem is I'm still gonna say Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is proven to be solid. He's proven to be solid, a game manager as of right now. The RPO works pretty good for him. It's nothing wrong with being a game manager. It's nothing wrong with being a game manager. It's nothing wrong with not turning the ball over and not putting the team in harm's way. Because if Saquon Barkley is going to able to run the ball, then they're going to find success. I think their defense is okay, not great. Secondary have a little bit of issues. Adoree Jackson starting to slow down a little bit. And the problem, I don't like their receiving core. I just don't like their receiving core. Sterling Shepard can't stay on the field a lot. You have Wan'Dale Robinson, who came on a lot last year, but he got hurt at the late stages of the season. You still got Isaiah Hudgens. So you have questions on the receiving core. You still have a little bit questions on the offensive line, which is Evan Neal got destroyed a lot last year. It's still a lot of pinpoint questions on this football team. I think the Giants are going to be 9, and they're going to find a way to win 9 games, but it won't be enough to go to the playoffs. I think it's a lot of teams. I think it's some teams like we talked about already, like Detroit. They're going to make a wild card. I think they're going to be a wild card team, or Minnesota. I think it's 2 teams going to come up out of that division pretty much. I think it's NFC South. I think NFC South is going to have 1 team coming out of the division. You're going to have 2 coming out of NFC West. When we discuss that, we're going to have 2 coming out of NFC West. So I believe the odd team will be the New York Giants.
So I definitely have the Giants finishing third in the division. Like you said, not the best lineup, but at least it's better with Paris Campbell and Isaiah Hodgins added with Darius Slay. It's a better group than it was last year. You still have Sterling Shepard, who got some experience last year. So you have some other guys at least. So, that's what it is on that. I think, the whole Saquon Barkley situation is kind of crazy. They signed James Robinson, who may get some burn. They have Matt Breida, who will run the ball some. Barkley's there, but I don't think you're getting 100% any longer from these top-tier running backs because you're not giving them the money, right? If you're not going to pay me, then even though I'm going to play, hey, that hit comes, I could bust through it and get 3 or 4 more yards, or I could just go ahead and go down. I think you're going to see a lot more of just going ahead and going down. Guys kind of giving themselves up early because, hey, why take the hits and the beating and then turn around when it's time to pay me and you don't pay me? I mean, they did get a little bit better on defense. They got Adoree Jackson in the nickel back. They made a couple of changes. They drafted Trey Hawkins, who looks like he's going to be the starter at left cornerback. Then Deonte Banks, who they drafted in the first round, looks like he's going to start at right cornerback. So they're basically saying what we all knew all along, both of those cornerbacks needed to go. Or needed to not be starters anymore. So it looks like a little bit revamped. Still some more work to do, right? They're going to have, it looks like their second-round pick, John Michael Smith Jr. is going to be their starting center. So that'll be interesting how that plays out as well. But I don't see them any higher than third. I think they still do make the playoffs. I think they're the 7th one in because it does still allow for a team from another division. I don't believe the North gets but 1 team in. So that's why I have them still sliding their way in at the end, or the West will only get 1 team in. One of those will only get 1 team in. And I think they will barely open up a slot, but barely, for the Giants if they can start like they did last year. All right. So then, of course, now we're going to go to everyone's quote-unquote team, right? the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm going to make this quick, Coach Dante. A lot of this is the same team from last year. They did make a few upgrades. Mozzie Smith at nose tackle, their first round pick, but there's been some communication that he may be injured. They did add Stephon Gilmore, who will, do some good things for them. Deron Bland looks like he's going to have to start at least the season at nickelback because of the injury to Jordan Lewis. Running back, you're going with Tony Pollard, Rico Dowd, and Malik Davis. They may have some input from Deuce Vaughn, their 6th-round pick. We'll see how he plays out if he can beat one of those other guys out. But I'm not confident in that running back room. Tony Pollard's coming off an injury. And then the other guys are unproven commodities at running back. You lost your main pass-catching center. Now you're going with Jake Ferguson and Luke Schoonmaker as your top 2 tight ends. I see this team still being good because you do have Dak, and we can say what we want about Dak, but he's a top 15 quarterback, right? At least in this league right now. He's a top 15 quarterback. He's got some weapons in Michael Gallup, Brandon Cooks, and CeeDee Lamb, right? So he has some weapons where he should be able to make some things happen. We'll see. This is a year where they're going to have to depend on his arm a lot more. I don't think they could take first place, but I don't think the Giants can catch them for second place.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a wild card team. That's a wild card. That's one of my wild card teams right there for me. So other than that, I think they're going to be in second. You still have you got Deuce Vaughn, a part of your running back locker room right now. You got Malik Davis, the rookie last year out of Florida. Tony Pollard is going to come back, I think, later during the season. He tore his leg up, fractured his leg in the actual playoff game, so he's going to be out for a period of time. Michael Gallup, it's some questions about him. He hasn't been able to recover pretty much well, but you do got a veteran, Brandon Cooks, who's definitely going to help out your wide receiver room. You got a veteran in him. She'll free a double team off of CeeDee Lamb. I think the tight end position is okay. And Dak Prescott, like you said, he is a top 15 quarterback in this league regardless. Yes, he may be struggling in training camp, but got to figure he won't be doing too much of those in probably when the regular season start. But I wouldn't be surprised if he does the same thing. But other than that, I still think that defense is going to be pretty solid. The defense is going to keep them in a lot of ball games. So I got them in second. I think this division is a matter of who's going to come in second, third, and fourth. That's all it is.
And great segue, sir. So now we'll go to the reigning and defending NFC East and NFC champs, the Philadelphia Eagles. They're first. To me, they're the best team in the division. There are some questions, though. We still have to figure out what's going to happen. From what I've been seeing lately, a lot of depth charts, Quez Watkins is going to be the slot receiver. That's a concern because this is a guy who has been great in camp before, but hasn't performed in the regular season. The regular season, the playoffs is when it counts, not what you do in camp. So I'm a little concerned about that, but the coaching staff has not really let me down too far, so I'm fine with that. 4 of the 5 linemen from, I think, in my opinion, the best front 5 on offense and the best front 4 on defense from last year. And that being Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Jason Kelce, and Lane Johnson return. Cam Jurgens looks to be the starter right guard. I'm not sure how I feel about that because he's our center of the future. So I'm one of those guys, like if he's the center of the future, I'd rather him sit and learn behind Jason Kelce and let our right guard of the future, which looks to be Tyler Steen, our 3rd-round pick this year, go ahead and slide in between 2 pillars and get that tough year out of the way while we have those other guys around him. Because now we're going to put ourselves in a position, let's say we win the Super Bowl. I always hope we win the Super Bowl. Every team is, let's be real. Let's say we do. Jason Kelce might decide to ride off into the sunset. If he rides off into the sunset, then Cam Jurgens has got to go back to center. He's got to get readjusted to playing center. Tyler Steen still has to have that tough year because your first year starting at like a center or a guard or tackle position is always hard, right? Because you have to learn the difference in technique, speed, strength, the different ways you're attacked from college. So I'd rather get that out of the way this year. But again, I don't get paid to make the football decisions. I just give my opinions.
There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I said, there ain't much more to say about the Philadelphia Eagles. They're the best team in this NFC East, and they're the best team in the NFC as a whole. I think AJ Brown. I mean, like I said, there ain't really too much to say, man. All I gotta say is Howard Roseman needs to be thrown in jail for robbery, because that's what he did in the NFL draft this year. I don't know how anyone had Jalen Carter slipping down. I don't know how you cannot grab him, but the Eagles, he dropped to the Eagles. They grabbed him. And Nolan Smith, who was listed as a top 10 draft pick as well, he drops to 30, and the Eagles find a way to get him. So other than that, it just sums it up. You got Jalen Hurts, who can only get better and better, who's going to only get better and better, and continues to be a leader, having a hell of a training camp right now. And you got Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, who's going to really continue to wreak havoc on the league. You're gonna have Dallas Goedert, one of the top tight ends in the NFL. Just so many weapons for the Eagles. I think their defense will be fine. Their defense will be solid. Not going to question the running back room. I think they're going to be fine because of the offensive line is just that dominant. So it ain't too much to say about the Eagles. They don't got too many glamorous weaknesses for me. But it's still, every team got questions. Every team is going to have questions. But other than that, I think the Eagles are the best team in the NFC.
I did that. I just wanted to say two other quick things real quick. I know it's my team, so you always go a little bit deep on your own team. We could use some work at strong safety. Terrell Edmonds is the starter right now. Sidney Brown has looked good in camp. A lot of people are saying, oh, he may take Reed Blankenship's position. I think Reed Blankenship is pretty solid, and his standing. Sidney could jump over Terrell Edmonds. The Eagles could make a move to try to bring in a more veteran safety. Name out there in Arizona. I'm going to stop talking about saying his name. I'm just going to say a guy in Arizona. But I think the right side of the defense, this is the question. We know what we have from Hassan Reddick, Nolan Smith, those guys. I think Nakobe Dean, growing pains, of course, but I think we're confident what we're going to get with him. Nicholas Morrow is going to end up being, from what it looks like so far, they're the linebacker. But Josh Sweat and Jordan Davis. So Jordan Davis came into camp. If you haven't seen pictures of him, go look up Jordan Davis. Last year, we saw a little fluffy guy, big fluffy guy that came from college, not in bad shape, but a little fluffy. You can look at Jordan Davis now. This man spent the offseason transforming his body. He looks like he's ready to dominate. Josh Sweat, kind of in and out of the lineup. He's been the guy. He's played times he hasn't played. So we'll see how that works out. And then Derek Barnett behind him. So that right side, Jalen Carter's the backup for Jordan Davis, by the way. So we'll see how that plays out. Because I think the left side with Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox is pretty strong, right? And then behind them, Taron Jackson and Milton Williams. So two other guys that we know that have been here for a couple of years and know what we want to do. So a lot of great things, but that right side, just curious because we got two guys that, this is going to be their first time like really being that guy. And then behind them, we've got a rookie that's going to push for playing time, and then Derek Barnett as well. But the good thing is the Eagles do a lot of rotation. So that will help as well. Guys won't have to play the position so much. We expect our backups to put in a lot of reps too. So, backups are always a concern for me because you're always one injury away from your backup needing to play. So, like I say, I'm excited so far. I think the Eagles, like you said, are the best team in the division. I still believe they're the best team in the NFC so far. They can stay healthy, and Jalen Hurts can continue to improve as he has so far. So, with that being said, Coach, did you have any last words?
Just the Eagles are the best team in the NFC, and the AFC East is going to be from 1 to 3. I think it's going to be solid. It's going to be a dogfight from 1 to 3, I believe.
Yeah, I think the three best teams in the NFC are still the same. I think they're still the 49ers, Eagles, and Cowboys. Unfortunately, us and the Cowboys are in the same division, so one of us can't, be a top 3 seed. But I think that's what you're looking at. I think the East is still going to be dominant. I believe we still are going to get 3 teams in. I think there, of course, will be a team that gets in from one of the divisions, either the West or the North as a wild card. But I don't see both of them happening just because they're going to beat up each other, and I don't see the division winner from the North being that far above second place. And it might be one of those kind of like we saw last year with the NFC South, where you just got one team in because somebody had to get in. And let's not forget, we know we're not going to get a second team out of the South. If we get a second team out of the South, that's the most shocking development of the season. That's the truth.
Yeah.
So yeah, with that being said, guys, we're gonna go ahead and end things for the evening. As always, Coach Dante, a pleasure. Appreciate you hopping in with me, breaking stuff
Always.
down, talking about some different topics, and having a little bit of fun.
I got something I gotta say right quick. Let me go ahead and say
Run
this.
it.
Let me go ahead and say this because this ain't gonna be nice when I actually say something like this. So, been watching the Dallas Wings a lot lately, and they starting to act like the goddamn how the Atlanta Dream was acting. I mean, you did lose a game by 40, by 30 to the Las Vegas Aces, and I get it. The Las Vegas Aces, they whoop everybody. When they're on the game, they beat up on everybody, so that is not. But you cannot lose 2 goddamn games at home to the Chicago Sky. You lost 2. Now, Chicago Sky, they are a competitive team. They're 12-16 going into the day. But lose 2 goddamn games at home, that's unacceptable. And this Wings with better talent, how the hell you are the same damn basketball team from last year? Inconsistent. Just when you think this team, hey, this team got a shot, they can beat anybody in the WNBA. Kind of like the Atlanta Dream. The team can beat it. They can beat anybody in the WNBA, but you also lose to goddamn anybody. The consistency is actually not there for the Dallas Wings. I think, like I say, I'm gonna say Veronica Burden is not really actually a scorer. She's got basically a playmaker and a defender. That's all it is. I think the Wings need to make a damn move at the trade deadline, if it even is a trade deadline. I heard it's supposed to be coming up soon, but they need to make another move for a shooter. Maddie Siegrist needs to go, put her out there, let her play some more. She needs to play some more minutes. I don't like the way Coach LT is handling her minutes. I think she needs to play a lot. She's too damn good not to be playing. She's a big old power forward that can get rebounds, that can shoot. I think you stun her growth. We also don't have Lou Lopez Stanishaw, but that's not the problem. You have Natasha Howard. You have Satu Sabli. You have a goddamn big 3, and you're still 15-14. We need to get things together right now, Coach LT, and we need to play some damn defense. We need to stop some goddamn body for once up in a lifetime. We don't stop any goddamn body on the defensive side of the ball, and it's unacceptable. And it's a bullcrap old team that's too good to be 15-14. You got to get it together. We definitely got to play some more defense, but we need a deal that needs to be made because something is not right. You cannot be this inconsistent, and we need to stop some goddamn body. And it was an embarrassing to lose to the Las Vegas Aces by 30. Now, when they're on, they're a really good team. They're a scary-ass team. They're just a championship-winning organization, championship-winning team. But you cannot lose 2 games in a row at home to the Chicago Sky. You are 0-3 against Chicago. You are damn near 1-3 against the Sparks. How? And you even lost a game against the Seattle Storm. That is bull crap. We got to play better. And it started with the goddamn Stars up on this goddamn basketball team. Unacceptable weekend for the damn Dallas Wings. And I just had to throw that out there.
Oh, Coach Dante, I wanted to tell you again, I appreciate the Alicia Gray situation, sir. I mean, I know it's an open.
You had to get it out there, huh?
Yeah, just a little salt in there. But I mean, I'm glad you did bring it up because I was going to ask you, right here at the end here. So we look at the WNBA, right, and it seems like there's 3 levels of teams right now.
Yeah.
Right. It seems at the top you have Aces, Liberty, and Sun. Right. Then that next tier is the Wings, the Dream, the Mystic, now the Sky, and possibly the Sparks. They're like kind of right there on the border. Then you go under that, you got like the Fever, the Mercury, the Storm. Maybe the Sparks is the best of just that group.
Yeah.
Do you think any of that's going to change before the season's over? Or are we going to be looking at Wings, Dreams fighting for that 4 or 5 spot? Sun, Liberty, and the Aces basically continuing to be the cream of the crop, and the other teams just fighting for those last crumbs.
I think the first 3 is in their own tier on their own. I think the first 3 is basically their own tier, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're on their own tier. But for us, my Wings and your Atlanta Dream, I think we're going to be fighting for the 4 and 5 seed throughout the whole year. I think it's potential we're going to do that. I think we still have another game with you guys at y'all place at Atlanta. But I think the Mystics, what's disappointing about the Mystics, they're beat up pretty bad. They're beat up pretty bad. I think that's one team that you can say if they have everybody, they could be up pretty much up there with the Connecticut Sun. They're very good defensively, but the problem is when you got Elena Deladon, your stud player, out for half of the season. And you also pretty much you had Ariel Atkins out too. You've been having her out. That's a problem right there. So I think they're more injury hit more than anything. But I think for the Connecticut Sun, which like I say, a dark horse, to beat the Liberty and Aces because of their defense. But I think what's going to hurt them on the long run down the stretch, I think in the playoffs when they play someone like the Aces or Liberty in the conference final, I believe that Brianna Jones will hurt them at the end when it comes down to play. I believe that Brianna Jones injury that's when you're going to start to see it kick in. But right now, don't overlook the Minnesota Lynx because, like I say, they started 0-7. They've been playing some very good basketball lately. You see Nabisa Collier, she's a walking bucket. She's just a walking bucket. She scores on anybody, and that team is getting better. And they're well coached also. And Diamond Miller is coming on as a rookie as well. Aaliyah Boston continues to be dominant as a rookie. But again, between the last three at the bottom, continue. They're going to win. They're going to continue to try to win games. But hey, it's all about the Caitlin Clark sweepstakes, and it's all about the Caitlin Clark sweepstakes, and Deja Kelly sweepstakes up in there. So other than that, I believe the Wings and the Atlanta Dream is going to be fighting for the 4 and 5 all year long, and I think the bottom of the portion stay the same. The 7, 8, the 6, 7, and 8 stay the same pretty much.
Fair enough. So, Dante, definitely appreciate it. We went over all of our topics. We even got a little WNBA talk. We like to get down a little WNBA as well.
Yep.
So with that, we're going to go ahead and end things for the evening. We'll see you back next week, 7:30 p.m. EST. And don't forget, if you are available, 10 a.m. WDZJY. I think that's right. WDJY maybe. But Atlanta Radio 99.1, 10 a.m. on Friday mornings. You can check out the PlayCallers Sports Talk show on there as well. Different conversations, different topics. But we will holler at you. See you next week.